My husband was acting weird. Then the truth came out. I, 27F, and my husband, 27M, just had an argument? If you could call it that. So, my brother just got a job, and it's great, except he just got thrown into single fatherhood immediately after. He has a daughter, my niece, who is about 6 months old and has no one to babysit her while he works, as the mother suddenly isn't in the picture. He called me, asking if I could watch the baby during the week while he works, only for a few weeks, since he knows I am a stay-at-home mom myself. I would have said yes, but I can't. I am pregnant and have 2 young kids of my own, one of whom does school from home, and I have to do it with her, which we are still getting the hang of because we just moved. By the time I'd be prepared for that, he wouldn't need the help anymore. He understood and asked if I knew anyone personally who could help because he was out of people to ask and wanted to try and avoid daycares, as he didn't trust them. He said he would pay and cover everything, but he just urgently needed someone, and I said I'd ask around. I don't really have friends, and I don't know many people in general, as I'm very introverted. But my sister-in-law, 25, lives with us and was just telling me how she needed a job and needed money, so I proposed the idea to her. She immediately agreed, and so I put her and my brother in a group chat to talk, as well as brought my brother over to the house to have a face-to-face talk about it. Now, they're not strangers, of course, they've met before and all, so it wasn't awkward. They talked about the baby, what was needed, etc. My brother didn't have a long-term plan mapped out right then since everything was so abrupt, but my sister-in-law was understanding and said she'd be okay with whatever, and that was that. I'm not sure of other details, as they text on their own and it isn't really my deal. It was up to them. But ultimately, it came down to my brother Ubering my sister-in-law to his house early in the morning and then dropping her off at home and seeing how things go, which she agreed to. Everything seemed fine until the day of. My husband came into our room and blindsided me with all these complaints on her behalf. He said my sister-in-law had not eaten since the morning, that she wasn't comfortable and she was tired, that she didn't even need to be there because other people were home and could have watched the baby, and that they only gave her $100, etc. I was confused because I spoke to my sister-in-law while she was there to check on her, and she said everything was fine. So, I told him she didn't say any of those things to me, and I asked her, and she said she wasn't complaining to him. I said to him bluntly, "So she is not complaining, you are complaining for her?" And he said, "Yes." I told him I was confused because he was throwing it all at me as if it's my responsibility, and that my sister-in-law and my brother are 2 adults who made their own deal. That was up to her, and she agreed to it. Nobody was forcing her. If she was uncomfortable or anything, all she had to do was say it. He continued to repeat the complaints and said, "Do I have to get involved?" I told him the deal doesn't involve him or me, for that matter, and I don't understand why he's the only one upset here when it has nothing to do with him. They are adults. He told me he can't even have a conversation with me and left the room. I'm genuinely confused. Am I missing something here? My sister-in-law is also confused as to why he even got worked up to begin with. Ida? Relevant comments. Commenter 1, NTA. Did he forget that his sister is a grown woman who can speak up for herself if she is uncomfortable? And even then, she would address her concerns with your brother, not you, since neither of you was involved in the deal they discussed. Maybe he's misdirecting his anger? Ask him about it, especially since even his sister seems just as confused. OP, that's what I said. They're adults. It's my brother's but not my deal. My only involvement was getting them to talk about my brother's offer. I'm not sure where the anger is from or why he was even upset about it. Commenter 2, is your husband on good terms with your brother? OP, yes, as far as I know. My brother is the one who even helped us move to our new house, they have 0 problems with each other. Commenter 3, this is weird to me. Why is he so concerned about his sister? She needed a job. If she worked for a regular employer, would he call her boss and complain to her? What's he expect his pregnant wife to do? Ike man, shit's weird to me. Do I need to get involved? No, you need to cut the cord, weirdo. OP, yeah. I mean, he threw it at me like trying to make it seem like I don't care about my sil or like something was my fault that I needed to correct, but he was the only one upset. My sil says she never complains, so I just don't get why I'm the bad guy in this argument. Commenter 4, why does sil live with you? I don't think you're Tahir, but the stance he's taking is weird. OP, she was in an abusive space before and had nowhere to go, so we of course took her in. She and I are super close, so it was really no issue with me. I just don't know why he randomly started this mess when it didn't even involve him. Update 1. So, since I spoke with my sister-in-law and husband separately and got nowhere, I finally got the chance to sit them down together. I was calm and respectful the entire time. I flat out said, "Okay, so in regard to the babysitting gig, what's going on? What issues are there, and where are they coming from?" My husband made a scoffing sound and looked annoyed but didn't speak up. So, I turned to my sister-in-law and asked her bluntly, "Do you have any complaints, concerns, or problems with the arrangement you and my brother made for the babysitting?" She said, "Absolutely not." I asked her, "Are you sure? Did you say anything to husband that says otherwise? It's completely fine if you did, but you have to speak up for yourself and talk about it, even to me if not my brother." She said, "I honestly have no issues, and I didn't complain to anybody, I swear." Then we looked at my husband. She told him that she was fine with the arrangements and had no complaints, then she asked him why he had made a scene for no reason. He got defensive and said, "Nobody said you were complaining. It just doesn't make sense to me. There's no point in you doing it, and it's not convenient. Are you even getting paid well?" I sat there, trying to understand why he was getting so defensive, and my sister-in-law shot back at him, telling him it wasn't his business, and that it didn't have to make sense to him, echoing exactly what I'd said in the first place, that it had nothing to do with him, and that she didn't appreciate him doing this without a good reason. He said he does have a reason, and when we asked what the reason was, he said, "Because it doesn't make sense to me." I calmly asked him which part didn't make sense to him and why he was so bothered by it when it does not affect his or our daily life in any way. I told him it didn't have to make sense to him because it wasn't his arrangement. That's when he got angry. He stood up from his seat, rambling something about how we were ganging up on him, that we weren't going to make him the bad guy, and that nobody listens. My sister-in-law and I just looked at him while he rambled, and she was just as lost as me. I, still very calm, asked him what he wanted out of this and why he kept trying to involve himself when my sister-in-law clearly said she was happy with the agreement. He said, "Nobody fucking uses their brain around here but me, I guess," and walked out. I don't know about y'all, but I'm no ass-kisser, and I definitely wasn't about to chase after him or eat him. He was being completely ridiculous, in my opinion. So, we let him go, and that was that. About an hour later, he came back and started saying things under his breath, like, "My own wife just let me walk out, she doesn't even care about me, and it's just fuck me, I guess. I just don't matter," while sighing and dragging it out. I ignored all of it, and he came into the room and said, "So you have nothing to say to me?" And I was like, "Nope. We tried to address things, and you decided to storm off, so that's that. I think you're being dramatic, and that's a you problem." He then called me inconsiderate and selfish and left. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here or what he's expecting, but there's the update, guys. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, he thinks your brother is taking advantage of his sister's kindness. He may not trust or like your brother. He may worry they'll develop a romantic relationship. Either way, he needs to grow up and use his grown-up words. I have zero tolerance for grown-ass men that throw temper tantrums. OP, I can't gauge it at all, and at this point I don't even care because it's just ridiculous. We are all adults. My brother pays Sil handsomely, even paying for her rides to / from home. Aside from texting about the baby or the arrangement, they don't really talk. And Sil is an open lesbian. I tried to ask him nicely instead of being rude and invalidating whatever his problem was, but he couldn't even handle that. I'm so over it that I don't even care what his problem is anymore. Commenter 2, question up, does your husband contribute with housework / childcare, etc.? Could it be that he is pissed off that his sister who lives with you is now no longer available to help him with his contribution to the household cleaning / childcare, etc.? That's the only thing I can think of as to why he would be pissed off. That he guilted his sister into helping out with the house and kids as part of her rent / board, and now she has a paying job, his free maid has gone. OP, not really. I do the cleaning, cooking and childcare on my own. Commenter 3, he says nobody uses their brain except him, yet he's the only one who can't verbalize whatever is going on in his head. Your husband needs a therapist so he can learn some different ways to progress towards his goals rather than throwing tantrums and woe is me guilt trips. Update 2, hello once again. I know a lot of you wanted to know what happened. With all the support from you guys, I feel like I owe you that. Things have happened, and I needed time to be alone, gather myself, and process everything. My husband kept up with the attitude, the side comments under his breath, the weird behavior. I gave no reaction and ignored it because I have better things to give my energy to, like my pregnancy and my 2 children. Anyway, I was cleaning when my husband decided to confront me and ask, "Why are you acting this way?" I asked him what he meant, and he said I was being a way toward him. I simply told him I abso-fucking-lutely would not coddle him for an attitude that doesn't make sense for him to have. He got upset, rambling about how, to his wife, it should matter to me that he's upset. I told him I had done nothing to him, that I had given him chances to explain what was wrong, and he didn't, so it's not my responsibility to fix whatever this is. He said this was all my fault. I asked him, what is my fault? I've done nothing but take care of our kids, our home, and him. I told him he made no sense, that nobody had done anything to him, not me, not my brother, not my sister-in-law, no one. I wasn't going to deal with his attitude at all, and if he wasn't going to cut it out, he could find somewhere else to stay. He sat down and said, "That's what I'm talking about." He claimed that my lack of giving a shit and my no-nonsense attitude were upsetting to him. I asked him why I should put up with bullshit, especially while pregnant, and why that would even bother him. He started all this drama over something that had nothing to do with him. And then it came. He took a deep breath and broke down with confession after confession. He admitted he had an affair. He admitted he had installed a camera in our home without telling me, hoping I'd do something stupid so he could use it as defense. He admitted the woman he cheated with knew my brother, which is why he freaked out about my sister-in-law working for him. He admitted he started drama to create an argument on purpose, so he could justify himself. And my calm reactions made that impossible. It bothered him that I never did anything wrong because he had done something wrong and couldn't shift the blame. I could barely react. I just sat there, my stomach hurting, trying to wrap my brain around it all. He told me he was sorry, that he's a piece of shit, that he doesn't know why he did it, that he loves me, tearing himself down. I just told him to stop talking. I calmly told him to remove whatever camera he installed and to find somewhere else to stay. He cried and begged, but I shut it down. Then he asked if I was going to tell my sister-in-law. "You're worried about me telling people? About what others will think of you? Instead of worrying about the damage you've just done to our family?" He left, but he wouldn't stop calling me. Suddenly, he wanted to have a conversation. Hilarious. I put my phone on silent and went to play with my kids, trying to be normal to shield them from it. I didn't want them to see me upset. But I was breaking inside. The stress was too much. I started having sharp pains in my stomach and then, I started bleeding. I was terrified. I thought I had lost the baby. My family helped me get to the hospital. The baby is okay. It was just the stress, too much stress. After everything settled, I got home, put my kids to bed, and finally cried it out. We've been together since we were 15. I've never cheated on him. Ever. We're approaching 30, what kind of shit is this? I've never had trust issues with him before. I'm not a phone snooper, I don't do things like that, and I never had a reason to. He's never behaved like this before. Or maybe he has. And I just didn't know. Honestly? I don't even care to know. One time is enough for me. I want a divorce. I'll be fair about it. I won't turn our children against him. I won't drag it out. But I am done. Thanks for listening, guys. Top comments. Commenter 1: Yeah, he wanted a reason to make you the villain, so he could say, well, she acted like this or spoke to me like this. That's why I cheated, etc. I'd tell everyone and tell your brother about the skank he knows who was banging your husband. I'd block his number and use Sil as a go-to when he can come and collect the kids for visitation. I know it's hard, but don't take him back. This man tried to manipulate you into being the villain so it would justify him fucking another woman. Commenter 2: You should absolutely tell your Sil. She's been filmed without her permission for God knows how long while living with you guys. She absolutely deserves to know this. Get your ducks in a row. Start separating finances, get your important paperwork together, and consult a lawyer. You know what to do. There's a lot to prepare and you need to get started now before the baby comes. Also, make sure someone is around to help after the baby is born because you cannot allow yourself to depend on the man who cheated on you and tried to make you the bad guy.